Hey everybody, it's Tony with Big T Bariatric and I'm back at you with another video, and today I'm going to cover Angela from Fierce Fat Femme. But before I do that, if you could do me a huge favor, look down below and see if you're subscribed to my channel, and if you're not, hit that button for me. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get this thing to 10,000 subscribers. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know what you think about this video. So Angela here seems to think that if you are not accepting of the fat community, then there's no way that you know what body positivity is. She's trying to make it so fat people are a part of the body positive community. Of course, we know that, right? Like, we cover that topic all the time on this channel. But to say that if you aren't accepting of fat bodies, that you can't be body positive, I think is absolute nonsense. But with obesity, I think it's something completely different altogether. I mean, why would you need to be positive about having a fat body? There's nothing positive about that. So to make yourself into this victim and acting like that there's no way that we can be body positive without including the fat community, I think is nonsense. But we're gonna get into that and more clips of hers in this video, so let's get started right away.
I had to stop blow drying my hair because, seriously, this part, just take a moment to read it. Okay. Literally, what sounds more like a cult? A bunch of people who are like, wow, we have been convinced that the biggest war we should be having is with ourselves, and that our bodies are not good enough for us to get general access to healthcare, general access to clothing, general access to sitting comfortably on airplanes, booths, etc. And they're saying that that sounds like a cult.
Alright, I want to stop it right here before we get to the second part of this clip. She says that our bodies are not good enough to be able to receive general health care, to not be able to fit in clothing and all of that stuff. I've covered this time and time again on this channel. You are the ones who forced yourself out of general society. You're the ones who made it more difficult on society to exist. And so because society wasn't built around people of a certain size, because people have been getting bigger and bigger over the decades, that's not society's fault. There is no intentional bias against fat people that you seem to think that there is. Clothes manufacturers are trying their best to make up for the larger and larger sizes of people. There are more companies out there than ever making clothes for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x clothes. That type of clothing exists out there. When it comes to medical machinery, I've told this story many times how I need to get both my knees replaced because I destroyed my knees because of my size. It is not the medical society's fault that I can't fit in an MRI. It's not the fault of the medical professionals that me at my size getting surgery would be a very dangerous thing. Again, it's not society's fault that you are overweight and that you don't fit in society. You kept growing and growing and growing and ballooning out.
Doing now? You're blowing up.
Not surprised.
What's happening?
You're blowing up like a balloon.
To a size that has made it uncomfortable for you to live as a normal person. And there's one way for you to fix that. If you're not comfortable in society, you can lose weight. You can fix that problem. You can go back and find clothes that fit you once you lose weight. You can suddenly fit in a booth once you lose weight. Again, that is not society's fault. That is your fault. And this whole thing about fat acceptance being a cult, it absolutely is a cult because all of you are getting together, trying to force society to make changes, trying to get society to accept you, patting each other on the back for being fat, and if anybody leaves the fat community, they are shunned. Just like if you left a cult, you would be shunned. So absolutely, fat acceptance community is a cult. Because if you tried to leave right now, do you think you would keep all of your fat friends? Probably not. They think less of you the moment that you start to want to lose weight.
Okay, so then the reverse, right, is when fat people lose weight or start an intentional weight loss journey, then they fully are consumed with fatphobic rhetoric of this idea that to be thin is the best way to live life, and that being thin resolves all health issues, and that, you know, we should all be striving to lose weight. And the idea of consistently controlling every single thing you put in your mouth and every single thing your body does, and then weighing yourself every day, tracking your weight every day, that sounds like that sounds like kind of bad for your health. I don't know, like, I'm just like concerned about your health.
To decide to take control of my health and start losing weight is bad for my health somehow? How insane is this person? What I say all the time is what happens to all these fat activists is as they get older and the consequences of their weight start bearing down on them, they decide that they want to change. They realize how being fat is so dangerous to them, it's painful to them, that they're tired of not fitting into society. They start to wake up. They have this rock bottom moment and they realize that they need to lose weight. This is not a bad thing. This is not a terrible thing that you need to call out. Just because they want to start losing weight and they start realizing being overweight is bad, that doesn't mean they're just shouting out all this fake fatphobic rhetoric. It's actually true. You're the one who keeps spewing out all this nonsense about being fat. They're the ones who woke up and are facing reality now, which one day you will the older you get, and the more you realize that being fat is not a good thing. And then you talk about how counting calories and doing the things that you're supposed to be doing the right way. Yeah, you can get obsessive about it. But everybody gets obsessive about something. Why not be obsessive about your health? I mean, it's better than being obsessive over a purse.
I am somewhat newly obsessed with weird, obscure purses. And are you kidding me?
Like, if you are starting to develop all these side effects and complications in your life from being overweight, don't you think it's worth it to start obsessing about that? Maybe not step on the scale every single day, which I've gotten into the habit of. And then my coach started telling me, don't step on the scale every day, Tony. Step on it once a week, get your weight, that's fine. Like, it's understandable that people get obsessive about it because they want to lose weight, they want to know that they're making progress, and it's something good to keep track of. But how is that different from being obsessed with a purse or material things? Don't you think obsessing about making sure that you're healthy, that you're losing weight, that you're doing things the right way is a lot healthier and a lot better than obsessing over material things? Like, your health matters. Your ability to survive matters. Removing the consequences of your obesity matters. Purses don't matter. Stop being a hypocrite.
So, Cass Elliot was originally a member of the band The Mamas and the Papas in the 60s and 70s. Important thing to know because people used to call her Mama Cass, but she ultimately didn't like being called Mama Cass, so that's why I always say Cass Elliot and don't refer to her as Cass or Mama Cass. She died at a very young age, and it was actually in London after she had created her own solo career under Cass Elliot, and she had just completed a really large kind of opening concert in London. Went back to her hotel room and they found her dead. And what had happened was there was a half-eaten ham sandwich next to her and rumors that there was a piece of a ham sandwich in her mouth. And so all the headlines said, like, Cass Elliot dies from eating a ham sandwich and choking on it. And so then, of course, everybody was like, well, Cass Elliot's fat. She, like, couldn't control her appetite and she was just eating it so quickly and ferociously that she choked on it and passed away. Incorrect. Fat phobia killed Cass Elliot. Cass Elliot was on an intense diet. She lost over 100 pounds. She was basically eating nothing. She was taking diet pills and she was working all day at a concert, which if any of you have ever sang a song at karaoke and done some dance moves, it is not a very easy thing to do. And then imagine doing that for hours and practicing. So she was malnourished. She wasn't eating enough. She was barely drinking anything and she had a heart attack. She basically put her heart into stress because of the yo-yo dieting and the intense diet culture that we have. And we can thank fat phobia for her ultimate death. And anyone who is like, it's not fat phobia that killed her, she was fat, blah, blah, you're not understanding the science and the factual evidence behind what happens when you yo-yo diet or when you diet for a bunch of time and you're malnourished. You can be fat and malnourished. You can be fat and anorexic. You can have a heart attack from doing all of those things. And it can be not related to being fat at all. In fact, it can be related to the worshiping the journey towards thinness.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I understand that if you're going to go on a diet that you might be pushing it a little too much, but to say that fat phobia killed a fat person who had a heart attack is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of fat activists out there who think, well, all I need to do is do a little bit of exercise and I don't have to focus on my diet, blah, 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 blah. But she was eating a ham sandwich, so I don't know how much she was actually starving herself. And if she did lose some weight, great. Getting out there, being active on a stage as a big person is a very dangerous thing to do. And if you're drinking all this caffeine and taking diet pills and whatever, I don't know what her life was like. And I don't think Angela knows what her life was like either. She's just trying to superimpose that it was fat phobia that killed her, which is absolutely ridiculous. She probably got to a size where she realized, well, I would be more successful in my career if I was losing weight, because it's getting harder and harder the older I'm getting to get out on stage and to perform a concert. So she wanted to lose weight. It wasn't fatphobia. It wasn't a hatred of fat people. She just didn't like what her own fat was doing to her body, and it was impacting her health dramatically that she came back from a concert and had a heart attack. The odds are more likely that it was her size that killed her at a young age, because the younger you are, you're more able to handle those things. There are skinny people who drink those monster drinks and drink the caffeine drinks and whatever, who do have heart attacks and die from it. Like that's actually happening right now. So that is possible. But to say it was fat phobia that killed her, no, I'm not buying that whatsoever. Fat phobia doesn't kill people. And I'm tired of the fat activists saying that it does. Because it was more likely that the fat killed her. Because if she was skinnier doing that, her heart would have been able to hold up. Now, I don't know if she had a genetic issue. I don't know if there was something wrong with her that she could have died from. But the fact that she was overweight and died young from a heart attack is a good sign. We're seeing a lot of fat activists who are dying. They're having heart attacks and they're dropping dead because they're acting like that they can be active and stay fat at the same time. I mean, it's possible she could be malnourished because a lot of people don't eat the right things. They're eating garbage all the time. They're not getting the nutrients that they need. And a ham sandwich isn't the best, but hey, either way, she wasn't getting what she needed. And for her to decide that she wants to lose weight isn't what killed her. What killed her was being fat in the first place. What Angela's doing here is trying to scare people from wanting to lose weight. Because if you start wanting to diet and you yo-yo diet, well, you're just gonna die just like Mama Cass did. And that's an absolutely ridiculous statement. Because if she was skinny and she did that, she probably would have been alive right now. Not if she had stayed fat. If she would have stayed fat, she probably would have been dead by now anyways.
Actually, babes, then you don't support body positivity. That's the whole fucking point. Actually, in its original creation, it had nothing to do about health. You know what I'm saying? And also, how do you know someone's health by just looking at them? Huh? And I would love to see, and I would hope, because I'm assuming things here, I would hope that you have the same energy about health around COVID and that you're still masking. Are you still masking? Anyways, I'm just really tired of the retired argument about like health, because again, what's your definition of health? Whose type of health? Are you going to therapy? Are we talking about emotional health? Or are we talking about everyone's full-bodied well-being? So you don't support body positivity if you're going to play health politics. Thank you. Bye.
I'm sorry, but fat people did not invent body positivity. They didn't invent it. They hijacked it and they assumed it for themselves. They said, if you don't accept us as fat people, well, you just are fat shaming and you don't love people and you're really not body positive. Are you kidding me? Like, I understand the need to love yourself. I understand the need to think positive about yourself. But I think it's something else altogether to decide to stay fat for the sake of being fat. You join the fat positive community and you try to force society to change because you would rather feel comfortable being fat than to actually change. But the reality is if you join that community and you stay fat, you don't really love yourself. Because the fact that you're fat to begin with proves that you just do not feel good about yourself. You don't like the way you look, you don't like the way you feel, but you're forcing it. You're forcing yourself into it because you don't want to change, because change is hard. And I get it, I lived that way for many, many years. So I totally get that whole argument. But I think body positivity should be saved for people who really, really need it. Not overweight people, because you're only damaging yourself. Body positivity shouldn't be a dangerous, harmful thing, and it is when you're overweight. When you try to force yourself in there and say it's okay to be fat, then you're going on TikTok and Instagram and telling other people and little kids that it's okay to be fat. Here's my lifestyle. I'm enjoying my life being fat. I can eat what I want and live how I want. And that's very, very dangerous, because then you die. And then they shun you and they don't care about you. Or if you decide later you want to save your life and lose weight, then they shun you and they hate you anyways. Either way, nobody stays in the fat positive movement. Either they die or they decide to leave and then they shun you. So either way, it's not something that should be accepted by fat people. We should love ourselves enough to realize that we need to start doing something to save our lives, to get healthy. Body positivity should be about that. And there's a lot of people in body positivity who cannot help the way they look, who cannot help the way they feel about themselves. We should help people feel positive about themselves in that way. But being overweight breeds shame. No amount of being fat acceptant is going to help you feel less shame about the way that you look. The only way to feel better about yourself is to lose the weight. And not doing it because of other people, not doing it because of any other reason than for your own health. Because being overweight is self-harm. It's a type of self-harm. You are eating yourself to death.
I think such an interesting question right now is I wonder how many fat people have stopped posting on TikTok, or at least posting with the same frequency, because of how horrible human beings are. And then it comes and makes me think like, okay, so are we letting them win? Are we letting the haters win? But no, actually I think we're letting our mental health win. Which is like such a great thing. So anyways, if you're fat and you're still on here doing your thing, I love you. And we are out here and we're trying, even if it's terrifying and scary. But this land whale is living.
Yeah, you're living, but you're not thriving. And how long are you going to live? I mean, you say you're trying and it's scary. Yeah, it's scary being overweight, especially as you get older. Especially as your body starts to break down because you can't handle the weight. Absolutely, it's time to start making changes because you're not going to live very much longer staying the way that you are. You're just not. You are not thriving. You are not happy, no matter how much you convince yourself you are. Maybe momentarily, maybe all your bills are paid, and so you're like, okay, life is fine right now. I'm making some money, I'm paying my bills, I'm doing fine. But then once the health issues start cropping up, you're going to realize that there's something more important than money out there, and it's health. And when your health is bad, you're not happy. Then you start feeling shame, and then you start regretting the years that you wasted being overweight to begin with. And no amount of fat positivity is going to help you feel better about that. You are harming yourself the longer you stay fat, because this is a self-imposed problem. I don't care what anybody says. People are going to come in the comments and say you can get fat for this reason or that reason or whatever. I don't care. It is a self-imposed issue. If you have a disease, if you have something that makes it easier for you to gain weight, you don't have to gain 200 pounds. You can be a little overweight. That's fine. I don't care. I'm not trying to tell everybody that they need to be skinny. Even my best friend, who was 50 pounds overweight, once he started hitting his 40s, it made his life dramatically complicated. He developed severe sleep apnea, his knees started killing him, he became out of breath doing little things, and before he knew it, he was sitting on the couch all the time because he was just so tired of carrying around that extra weight. So even just a little bit of weight can make your life more difficult. It's time to start making some changes, because once you get into your 30s and 40s, you're not going to be able to tolerate it. Anyways, everybody, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you think. I greatly appreciate it. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. God bless you.